Well, new at 5, Wednesday is D-Day for the Colorado River with a deadline set for the states that rely on the river's water every day.
Yeah, and that's us. We're one of them. So there's 7 states that use Colorado River water. They have to come up with an agreement over how to divide up the water for the future because Lake Mead and several other lakes on the river are way down. The storage is down. If we don't decide how to use it, the federal government says they will step in and decide how that water is used. As of right now, there is no agreement.
And Arizona gets most of its water from the ground, but the Colorado River is a close second, with it providing more than a third of the state's water. Now, the rest comes from rivers and reclaimed water.
The Colorado River water we do get is enough water for more than 6.5 million homes for 1 year. Although a lot of it goes to things like agriculture, not your typical drinking water. But again, it's more than a third of our water. So if you're talking about more than a third of our water being impacted by this, it's a major story. So 12 News journalist William Pitts breaking down this deadline and what it means for us here in the Valley. I mean, we are in a desert here, Will.
Yeah, we are. But think of this like your own budget. You know how much you spend and you know how much you get paid. But what if, starting next month, you had no idea if your paycheck was going up or down and by how much? That's what all these states are dealing with. And no one wants to be left holding the bag.
It would be quite worrisome if there isn't progress toward an agreement, real progress toward an agreement announced on Wednesday.
The deadline is looming. Wednesday, 7 states have to agree on how they want to use the Colorado River. There's less water than ever, more people than ever, and no one wants to use less.
There's no more, room to move the goalposts.
Sarah Porter with ASU's Kyle Center for Water Policy says the question is over a 100-year-old document, the Colorado River Water Compact, and whether it says the northern states have to give water to the southern states.
The upper basin says we don't. We don't have that obligation the way the lower basin says. Of course, the lower basin says yes. Yes, you do.
If there's no agreement by Wednesday, the feds could step in and make one, except there's no permanent head of the Bureau of Reclamation. There almost was.
If Ted Cook had come on, we would have had a person who was already an expert.
There's nothing like having a presidential appointee that's confirmed by the Senate that's going to be there for a few years to really have the kind of gravitas to be able to make these kind of deals happen.
Ted Cook wanted to be that guy. He almost was that guy. Ted was the head of Central Arizona Project, managing the Colorado River water for Arizona, and now the head of the Water Infrastructure Finance Authority. He knows water, and this, he says, was weird.
But I've never really seen it become this politicized.
Ted was nominated, then unnominated. The White House told him it was problems with his vetting paperwork. Ted heard different.
And I heard from lots of people that I know that said that's not the reason, Ted. The reason is that the upper basin states are objecting to your appointment.
For 100 years, this system has been managed through consensus of the 7 states, and it would be a huge departure if we got to a point where we couldn't get to an agreement.
So why does this matter to you? Well, your taps won't stop flowing on Thursday, but we might have to start drawing on our water savings.
We need to know how much water can we reasonably expect from the Colorado River so that we can plan accordingly.
Because the river also helps your food grow, cities expand, and in some parts of the state does come out of the tap. Now, there's no guarantee that on Thursday the feds will step right in, but the negotiators have said before that they will if they have to. Most water experts are hoping for at least some small agreement that will at least keep things going. William Pitts, 12 News.
Yeah, we'll be watching on Wednesday for sure. Now, we've already seen, it was Scottsdale, I believe, cut back on their city water use in response to lowering of the Colorado River water. It's already happened in some places, hasn't it?
Well, we've been lowering our use of Colorado River water for years now, where, various tiers based on how much water is sitting in Lake Powell, Lake Mead, that kind of thing. So we've been lowering it for a while. We're already using less than we were. The problem is, what are we going to do when our current agreement that governs how much we have to drop expires in 2026. We don't have a framework after that. We don't really know what's going to happen. All of those states are going to be competing for the same amount of water that's below where it should be. So we don't know really what's going to happen past next year. Wednesday was the deadline to come up with that plan.
Yeah, seems like this should be priority number 1, right on the list of things to get situated for the state. All right, thank you so much, Will.